Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from PeakofSerenity.com here with another commentary video. This time it's Heroic Star Augur Atreus. So let's get down to it. This fight is a pretty straightforward single target fight, which means it's really not one of Windwalker's strengths. There's not a ton of targets for a Windwalker to blow up really until the very end. So it is primarily a single target fight. This fight goes through several phases. The first phase is 100 to 90, and that's just kind of a normal burn phase. The next phase is 90 to 60, and then 60 to 30, and then 30 till the end. This fight has a lot of opportunities for you to use your defensive cooldowns like Touch of Karma, and Diffuse Magic is also very strong. It also has a lot of opportunities to make use of Transcendence, because there are many things that require you to kind of run out. Which Transcendence obviously allows you to then port back in easily. So this second phase, it's technically the second phase, is the Icy phase, or the Frost phase, and what happens during this phase is you will get something called an Icy Injection, at which point you need to run out to the edge in order to drop the explosion without harming anyone. This is again a situation where using Transcendence is very useful. As well as using something like Touch of Karma or Diffuse Magic to decrease the amount of damage you take when you run out. It is important to note that the range on Touch of Karma is just a smidge under the range for Star Augur. So it is something that if you're out of range, if you go all the way to the end, then you're not necessarily going to be able to use Touch of Karma. I stayed just in the range in order to do that, but you really just need to make sure that you're not going to be hitting anyone with the explosion. As you may have noticed there, the Icy Injection does slow you down the longer it's on, so it's important to get out quickly. However, Flying Serpent Kick does not is not slowed, so you can use Flying Serpent Kick really at the last second, even or wait a lot longer in order to get all the way out. For this phase, we did a stacking mechanic on the boss or on the tank in order to help the tank clear their stacks. But really, there's not a whole lot going on. Frigid Nova you can use a cooldown for if you wish. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage on Heroic, and your healers should be able to manage it. On Heroic, this is not a very difficult fight. On Mythic, it becomes significantly more difficult. So be aware of that. So now we're moving into the third phase, the Fell phase, and this time he will give you what's called a Fell Injection, which means that you will drop little Fell puddles underneath your feet. So when you get a Fell Injection, you need to get out quickly, and then drop the Fell puddles. As you can see, my raid members are spawning them. So they drop every couple seconds, and if you step in them, they put a dot on you that will stack. So it is something that if you really wish, you can stand in one, take some damage, use Touch of Karma to deflect it, stuff like that. That's always an option if you really want to kind of abuse it. But in general, it's important to just move away. He will cast a Fell Nova during this phase, at which point you will want to get out. And then that's another great time to use Touch of Karma or Diffuse Magic to decrease the amount of damage you take. And then use Transcendence to get back in. So as you can see, I went over the fire, got a stack, but it doesn't deal that much damage on Heroics. And I used Transcendence to get back in order to minimize the amount of time that I was out there. So because this is a single target fight, you can get away with and probably be better off using Serenity if you have the bracers, and especially if you have the chest legendary, the Emperor's Capacitor. So as you can see, somebody dropped the Fell Flame in melee, so I had to avoid it. But yeah, you typically want to get out and try and keep them clumped together so as to maximize the amount of space that you can have to run around. So as you can see there, I used Flying Serpent Kick. I had forgotten to reset my Transcendence, so I didn't Transcendence back that time, nor that time. But we have a lot of movement speed, and there's not a big distance to cross, but Transcendence is still going to be the most efficient way to get from point A to point B. Assuming you plan ahead, of course, which is really a big part of playing Windwalker at a high level, is knowing how to use your Transcendence to minimize the amount of time you are away from the boss. So now we're moving into the next phase, into the final phase. This phase is kind of a void phase, I guess you could call it. And what he does is he spawns little void ads, and that's a situation where Storm, Earth, and Fire can be very useful to tag these ads. It depends a lot on the raid comp you have and how quickly they die. But really the priority during this phase is to blow up the large ad that spawns, the thing that should not be, I believe it's called, or something like that. So when that spawns, you need to switch to it immediately. You may want to save cooldowns for it, like Touch of Death, Storm, Earth, and Fire, Serenity, whatever. Save it for that in order to blow it up as quickly as possible. This big ad, like I said, is really the biggest priority of the fight. You need to kill him before he casts so many Witness the Voids that he kills you, which is important. If you are facing him during Witness the Void, you will be feared, so you do want to make sure you turn around at least at the last second. And you really need to just blow him up. He's kind of very important. You can use something like Touch of Karma to help deflect some of that damage, diffuse magic to decrease it, stuff like that, because as he casts more, they get stronger and stronger. So really, you just kill him, then you go back to the boss, burn the boss as quickly as you can, and then alternate if need be, between killing the large ad. The Voidlings, like I mentioned, they're a good thing for Windwalkers to pad on. There aren't a lot of opportunities to pad, but it is a decent thing for Windwalkers to pad on because our Storm, Earth, and Fire spirits can kind of bebop around and kill them. So we got a second ad here. This was the first week of Nighthold, so we were a little under geared, and so we all did have to switch to kill this second ad before going back to kill the boss. So as you can see, I did have my Touch of Death ready, using my Storm, Earth, and Fire to get some additional stacks of Spinning Crane Kick, and then you can use them to get the stacks on the Voidlings, and then focus them on the big ad in order to make use of some additional damage and using Spinning Crane Kick in a single target, or you could just have them go bananas and kill everything in the area, for just maximum pad damage. So it's there are a little bit of opportunities, but not a ton of opportunities for a Windwalker to do a ton of damage. This is one of the weaker fights for a Windwalker because it's really primarily single target. So as you can see, we kill the second one, then we're back on the boss, and really at this point it's just a burn to kill the boss before the other ad that he now spawns kills us. So really it's a pretty straightforward fight. Your goal is to just survive and get through the phases as quickly as possible, and then make sure you have as many cooldowns as you have available to you for when this big ad comes, so you can kill him as quickly as possible, so that you have as maximum time on the boss as you can. So really this should be treated primarily as a single target fight, unless you really want to and have the opportunity to pad on the Voidlings. I didn't, because we have quite a few. We have another Windwalker. We have quite a few Demon Hunters and stuff like that. So really this fight is pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of going on. It's not super difficult. There are certain DPS requirements for your raid, but there's not a lot of things that are going to just kill you immediately, as opposed to Mythic, where things get much more difficult. So if you are interested in Mythic, I do have a commentary video for that as well, so be sure to check that out. Check out all my other videos on my YouTube channel. I have my kill videos, I have some guide videos, stuff like that. I do stream all my raids, twitch.tv/Babylonius. You can follow me on Twitter @BabyloniusMonk, as well as check out all the content on PeakofSerenity.com that exists for really all three specs. So if you like that content or any of the stuff that I provide, then please subscribe to this channel, like this video, stuff like that. Donate and help support the website and myself and all the other authors through Patreon and PayPal, and help to keep us doing what we're doing. So hopefully this answers more questions than it creates, and until next time, good luck.